A possible armed suspect on a motorcycle fled from Los Angeles police during a wild chase. A possible armed suspect on a motorcycle fled at high speeds during a wild chase in Los Angeles. Tuesday afternoon, May 27th. During the chase, the suspect drove on sidewalks and overtook other cars on busy roads.
Showing signs of getting onto the freeway here. He's just crossing Central Avenue. Looks like he's on his phone again, trying to make a phone call, speeding down Imperial Highway here. So we'll see what they decide to do here. But right now, he is driving way too dangerously to continue the pursuit on the ground. Right now, you can see him actually doing wheelies, speeding right through intersections. And just a few moments ago, guys, even riding onto the sidewalk without any hesitation whatsoever. So a dangerous rider on this bike here, believed to be armed and full of antics as he continues this pursuit, guys. Oof. Well, I mean, he's got some more suburban traffic at each of these stoplights, and he's got opportunities to get on the freeway. As far as I am aware, he has not actually traveled on the freeway. He's taken surface streets to get down in this area, but he is not stopping for any of these red lights. He encounters more of that traffic and just has no hesitation, splitting lanes, going right through cars, and at times, as I mentioned, even jumping onto the sidewalk. So it is a hairy pursuit to say the least. Look at this, more pedestrians, bicyclists, slowing down at least. He's braking, but he is continuing to run right through the red light, just waiting for cross traffic to pass here. At least he's braking. Some encouraging signs there that he's not completely out of his mind, but certainly a very dangerous person behind the wheel here of this motorcycle as he now goes underneath the Harbor Freeway here, underneath the 110 freeway, and this might put him, well, yeah, he's going to continue down 115th. He's on 115th, passing Figueroa, showing signs of making a northbound turn now, northbound on Denver Avenue. So northbound Denver from Imperial, and slowing down at least just a little bit at times. When he's got free range, he really was pushing the speed limits. Now you can see him slowing down at least a little bit here. I don't know how much more he can have in this bike, but they don't get great gas mileage. Unclear how much he started with here. At some point, that's the traffic here, and it's a little bit of an optical illusion too. As we approach him, you'll start to get a better idea of his speed, but we're kind of directly behind him, shooting from a distance. A little bit hard to tell. He's probably doing right around the speed limit with the rest of the traffic here. Northbound through Vernon, northbound 110 freeway. We'll see if he picks up any speed here. Of course, the more speed he picks up, the more fuel he's going to exhaust here, and that'll only limit his ride even further here. But he is picking up a little bit of steam now, pulling over to the right lane, might even be thinking about getting off the freeway.
All right, and let's talk for a second about what tactics they can employ here against a motorcycle. They can't really use a spike strip, right? Or I guess they could if they could make sure that he would run over it, but they can't use a pit maneuver against him because that could be considered almost lethal force, I think. So yes. What in terms of the tactics that the pursuing officers can employ, they're kind of limited.
No, those tactics are all off of the table with a motorcycle. Yet another reason why these motorcycle pursuits, or in this case a dirt bike, are so precarious, because you really are limited in terms of the options that law enforcement has at their disposal. The best they could hope for is that he boxes himself in, and by being in the right position, they could be ready for the termination of the pursuit. But unless that happens, he's going to be able to weave through traffic. He's going to be able to split lanes. He's going to be able to put space between them. And they really don't have much that they could do unless he poses a lethal danger to them. And then, of course, they have more force that they can employ in that event. In the event that he was to pose a threat to officers, that would change the game quite a bit. But other than that, it's really a game of watching him, especially with the luxury of that air support up above, able to track his each and every move from the sky, relaying his location to those ground units, and then being in position to end this safely and resolve it by taking him into custody, hopefully as peacefully as possible. But with a man who is believed to be armed, again, all bets are off, and we can only hope that his intentions are to just end this as peacefully as possible. Hopefully he doesn't even think about pulling out that weapon.
Yeah, and it looks like traffic slowing down right now in this area, but you know, the advantage for this individual on this motorbike is that he, you know, can weave in and out of traffic. So when the cars are kind of stopped and backed up on the freeway there, that doesn't necessarily impact him as much.
Maybe getting off here. Looks like he is showing signs. You're right. We're in the thick of rush hour now as we make our way squarely into the downtown area, transitioning, I think, onto the 10 freeway, taking the, I believe that's going to be the eastbound transition from the 110 freeway to the 10. We'll see if that's correct. No, I think he's taking the westbound. Is that going to put him on the westbound, Rob? I think it's going to be onto the 10 freeway here. Here's the split. And
boy,
where'd he go?
Squeezing right behind that truck. There he is.
Behind the truck. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting off the freeway altogether. Getting off the freeway altogether at Cherry Street. Picking up a little bit of speed here. We'll see if those units can get off with him. But he has now put some serious distance between himself and those pursuing officers. We counted about a half a dozen units that were able to make their way onto the freeway with him. But again, he's been able to really put a lot of distance in between them. But hopefully they'll be able to catch up here as he passes the convention center. Now coming out onto, he's on Pico, coming up on, I believe that's going to be Figueroa, making the left northbound turn onto Fig. And this is going to be the classic move, right, guys? Right in the middle of downtown LA. And unless they can keep eyes on him, there are just too many hiding spots with a vehicle, any vehicle, let alone a motorcycle, where there are just so many parking garages, so many tall buildings. Even for that helicopter, it's about to get a lot trickier to maintain a visual of him. As you can see, we are able to keep that that line of sight clear, but if he starts to, starts to zigzag through these buildings, it's going to be a whole different ball game. I would not be surprised to see him dump this bike by any means.
Yeah, what's interesting, I'm wondering if there's any significance at all to this insignia that we're seeing on this, on what he's wearing, on the jacket, on, you know, the black jacket, the black pants, whether that has some meaning or not. And I'm very curious about that device that is in the backpack that is that may be one of those 360-degree cameras as described by one of our technicians here at ABC7. So I'm just curious about what exactly is going on here and why this person allegedly had a gun and at least made that evident to someone who felt unsure enough about it to call the police and to be concerned about the possession of that weapon. So there are a lot of questions that need to be answered here. We may not get them if he ends up dumping this bike and getting away from the police. We may not know what's going on in this person's mind, what this was, whether it was a stunt or whether it's something far more sinister. We just don't know yet. And but we do know, I think, is that, you know, he's in a position where he can get away from the pursuers if he wants. He certainly, if he wants to aggressively try to get away from the pursuing officers, he can. There's lots of places he's already passed that he could duck into or look like he's ducking into and go somewhere else. So it's curious right now. He's going straight northbound, still on Figueroa, is that correct?
Northbound Figueroa, he's kind of passing through the downtown area. He may come out on the north side, maybe even hit the 101 freeway here. He is splitting those lanes, putting real distance between him and any of those LAPD units, but he's navigating this traffic really well that is at a standstill at these various intersections. He's using every ounce of pavement at his disposal, making a right turn here, possibly onto 3rd Street or just going around traffic on Fig, and continuing, it looks like continuing northbound Fig. Northbound Fig, now on the north side of downtown LA. Thankfully, that air support helicopter able to maintain a visual, still following him from above and devoting still all of those ground resources to trying to catch up with him. So they are not letting up on him, but he is underneath that tunnel, a notorious spot for pursuits to end. We'll see if he comes out the other side or not. He may or may not. This is just an iconic spot where he may very well be gone with the wind. We'll see where he comes out here. It's always a little bit tricky as we make our way through downtown LA.
Yeah, and just based on how we saw him moving through downtown Los Angeles, I mean, it certainly looked as if he is familiar enough with this area to kind of know what turn to take versus what turn maybe would not work in his favor. Would you agree, Chris?
I missed that, Michelle. One more time.
I just was mentioning that based off of...
It wasn't just hanging off the tail. He actually had it in his hand and was waving it around as he was shooting with it, and then he put it back and was using his cell phone at various points. He appeared to be talking into the speakerphone, communicating with somebody, and now he just seems to be focused on hiding out as he has now made his way into downtown LA and is somewhere in these tunnels as they try and pick this up once again right underneath the road.
All right. Well, we're going to leave you on station there, and we're going to pick this up if the pursuit continues, if there's some sighting, if there's a development here that we can track. And rather than stay static over these buildings where we can't see much of anything, we're going to come back to this as needed if something new develops. We know the LAPD is still very much interested in this.
Yep.
The chase took place in downtown Los Angeles, where police apparently lost track of the motorcyclist.